Right, good morning. How are we this morning? Right, so I'm sure a number of you have already seen on social media that I have been served with legal papers by Econet, the three Econets, together with Strive Masiwa himself. So I've had a number of people that have been tagging me on what we call photos of that particular legal document, and they want to know what is going on, what does this mean, and so I decided to make a video instead of responding to all the people that are tagging me on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on Facebook. So I'm going to just give you a small summary of what it is. So this is the booklet that I have received. Quite thick. I am the first respondent. There is Mawere on the same document, and we also have a gentleman called Gambakwe on that very same document. So people have been asking me, what does this document mean? The legal document that we've been served is a motion or notice of motion. Apparently, they would like to take legal action, but in the meantime, they're asking us for certain relief. They want us to take certain videos off YouTube channels, and the YouTube channel that's been given reference to is the YouTube channel of Gambakwe, and they would like certain articles to be taken down by Mawere, and they would like me to take down certain videos from my Facebook page. Now, for those of you that have been following this issue since I began it, I have been very clear about my fight against Econet. I've been very clear about why I was talking. I was very clear saying that our politicians are held accountable by Parliament. Our politicians are held accountable by the media. But who holds powerful organizations, powerful companies accountable? Now, some of you might say it's the same mechanisms that hold those people accountable. But I beg to differ. Because if you look at the situation that is in Zimbabwe, Econet is the biggest company by far, followed by Delta Corporation. And Econet is the biggest advertiser in Zimbabwe. And by so doing, it means that they're the ones that are giving the media their lunch. The media can only eat because of Econet's support. So under those circumstances, the question is, if Econet is the biggest advertiser, if Econet is the company that puts in the advertorials, then which media company is willing to challenge Econet if it wants to survive? And that is the reason why I felt that people like me needed to start speaking, particularly about information that was there on Econet in the public domain. As a company that is beginning to develop a monopoly in banking, telecommunications, and with the owner also establishing himself in other arenas like energy and agriculture, we have to start asking questions if the power and strength of this company has got anybody that is holding it accountable. We have got to start asking the question if there is anyone in our government, in our political circles, in the media, and in the social activist groups that has got the power to hold Econet accountable for public interest. Is there anybody with the power to ask questions, particularly on information that is already in the public domain that has no clarity? Now, a number of people are very happy that I've been served with these papers because they think that I need to be clipped. My wings need to be clipped because I talk too much. But you need to take an analysis first before you start celebrating. Ever since I started criticizing Econet, a number of interesting things have happened. Ever since I made voice notes and videos criticizing Strive, a number of critically important things have happened. Number one, The moment my first voice notes went out, Strive Masiwa started saying that sanctions must go. This is something I never heard him say before. But after my videos, after my voice notes had gone viral, I started hearing him talking about sanctions must go. For those of you who know me, you know that there are very few people that have publicly spoken about sanctions more than myself. So the coincidence about Strive Masiwa starting to speak about sanctions needing to go after I started criticizing him is an interesting relationship. There's also the correlation of the fact that I started criticizing Strive and saying Strive does not give to Zimbabweans to develop entrepreneurship and to develop the future millionaires of our country. He has benefited from empowerment in Zimbabwe, from favorable government policy that has allowed him to set up Econet, but he has not given back to creating the future millionaires of this country that we call Zimbabwe. Ironically, within 2 months of my criticism, we saw him giving $100 million to entrepreneurship in the villages. A lot of people would say he already wanted to do that, but the point is he was criticized first before we saw him doing that. That is a fact. We can't run away from that. And you saw me making videos thanking him for that, thanking him for doing that. The next thing and the third thing that happened is that after I criticized Econet for the allegations that were in social media that they were not paying tax and they were evading tax, Econet on Strive's own page said that they went to court to push for a decision, to push for a judgment, which was then given that Econet was not guilty of tax evasion, was not guilty. Now you need to understand that the coincidences of me critiquing Econet and then Econet and Strive going and doing certain activities that remedied what I was criticizing is the example and the reason why voices like mine are required. No one had brought up the issues I was bringing up. But the moment I brought them up, we got Econet to do certain things. We got Strive Masiwa to do certain things. We got them to account to us as Zimbabweans, to account to the public of Zimbabwe. And I've said it here on this platform that when people like Strive respond to the voices of the people, to pressure from the people, we are grateful for that. And we give thanks for that. But at the same time, we must then understand not the importance of the action that has been taken, but the action of people like myself. Voices that are willing to hold power to account, not just public power, but private power that actually sometimes has more power than our public officials. That is why we're required. And this document seeks to muzzle me, seeks to muzzle people like me. And unfortunately, the moment people like me are muzzled, it's going to be very difficult to get another person that's going to speak on behalf of the public of Zimbabwe against such institutions like Econet. Because the majority of your lawyers, the so-called human rights lawyers in Zimbabwe, the leading human rights lawyers in Zimbabwe, and most lawyers in Zimbabwe rely on being given work by institutions like Econet, so they cannot speak up against Econet. They cannot question Econet. They cannot challenge Econet. So it will take people like myself that have no ties, no financial strings to Econet. So now the question is, what must happen with this document? The document gives me the option to take down the videos, to stop making future videos, and to write an affidavit that obviously says I will not do that in future. I'm still taking legal advice as to what I need to do. And what is interesting is that in the applicants, he tells me that the applicants that were going up against, the fourth applicant serves on a number of international boards, including Unilever, Rockefeller Foundation, the Council on Foreign Relations, Global Advisory Board, African Progress Panel, UN Secretary General's Advisory Board for Sustainable Energy, It then goes on again to start talking about the fourth applicant also took over the chairmanship of the Alliance of Greening Revolution in Africa, known by the acronym AGRA, from the erstwhile Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. Now guys, I have spoken about these institutions. The reason you need someone like me not to be gagged, the reason you need someone like me to continue speaking, is that those organizations I mentioned, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Council on Foreign Relations, and also AGRA, the Greening Africa Alliance of Greening Revolution in Africa. It is very important for you to understand the nature of those organizations and their intention in Africa that will eventually affect you one day. And if you don't have people like me speaking, the monopolies that they want to create in terms of controlling African food, African seed, to ensure that they monopolize food, is a danger and a threat to all Africans. So you might not like me. You might hate me for speaking up against people that you love. But my interest is Zimbabwe, my interest is Africa, and my interest is to ensure that these countries, this continent, has got the power to continue to have the independence to produce its own food by not allowing our food to be monopolized. I am also interested to see that we have socialism and democratic socialism that takes place in Africa, where our economies and our countries are not controlled by corporatocracy, are not controlled by capitalist companies that are usually foreign or that hide behind local companies, yet they've got a foreign interest to control our resources, to control our institutions, which is what the Rockefeller Foundation is known to do. They are known to propagate or to push the capitalist agenda in banking, in food production, in energy, in fuel, petrochemicals, fertilizers, medicines. You do not want such a company having unchallenged power in a small country like Zimbabwe. I am there to bring those issues out. And what this document seeks to do is to shut me up so that I don't talk about that. Now, if I've been able to strive taking out $100 million and giving it to entrepreneurs, something he never did before, even if he wanted to do it, but he didn't do it until I spoke, it means that our voices have power. For a man to go to this extent, it must mean that my voice means something. Because if I was just a ranting madman, Econet would not have gone to this extent. The three Econets plus the owner of Econet would not go to the extent of creating a thick document like this if what I'm talking about is not critical and not important. Mad people are never given attention. Mad people are ignored. I was not ignored because what I'm talking about is critical, and what I am touching on talks to the agendas of these institutions and companies. So, I'm still looking for legal advice. I do not have the resources that Econet has. I do not have the money that is given by the public to fight the same public when it's trying to hold me to account. So I need to weigh my interests. If I have to stand alone, it means I have to take money out of my pocket. And I have to take money out of my pocket standing up for the interests of a nation. So if the nation is not interested in the issues that I'm bringing up, I too will get to a point where I'm not interested in the issues of the nation. But what I would like to warn the nation is that what I'm talking about is about your future and your children's futures. If you are happy that I'm going through this point and you're happy that I must be gagged, you must also know that you're happy about the future that's going to come when voices like me are no longer there to stand up for you. When voices like me are no longer there to hold a powerful institution, a powerful monopoly in energy, telecommunications, banking, information, data, education now. You need to know that if that voice is no longer there tomorrow, no one will give you the information, no one will open up what I have opened up in the past 6 months that nobody had ever spoken about before. So I'm surprised this document talks about how me and Mawere are linked and associated. And ironically, me and Mawere are also fighting. The reason why Mawere reached out to me to speak to me is because I was critiquing him. I was critiquing him as one of the business people in Zimbabwe that have never benefited Zimbabwe. I have also critiqued him that even now, when Stride Masiwa, who's got all these things that we feel as indiscretions, has given to cholera, given to the cyclone, Mawere has given nothing. My criticism is about the interest of Zimbabwe. It's about holding those that have been given an opportunity by the resources of our nation. Those that were given a hand up by our government. People like Mawere, people like Stride, people like Shingimtasa, people like James Makamba, people like the Rottenbachs and the Mikkelses of our nation. I seek to hold them to account so that they can give back to the public that has enriched them. They can give back to the public that has never been given the opportunities, the resources, and the favorable policies that have made these people. I will not stop doing that. However, this document seeks to stop me, people like me, speaking. It seeks to stop people like me who have certain information that majority of you don't have to shut up. And finally, a man died in the process of some of the fights between Econet and Zimra. A man died in the process. I've been asking how that man died. Why is there a coincidence of this man dying at a time where he whistleblows? Econet is saying, I am saying that Econet killed him. No, I'm asking, how did he die? Why did he die at the time that he blew the whistle? And within that time, I've received phone calls. I've got recordings that I've got from family members, from people that used to be in the previous CIO, giving me very damning information that needs to be investigated. That information will never be investigated when people like me are shut up. It will never be investigated if people are being gagged from asking the relevant questions about powerful institutions and monopolies in our country. So this is the answer as to what it is. I'm still seeking legal advice. What am I going to do? Do I take down the videos? Do I offer the affidavit? I am still consulting legal minds to find out what I must do. Once I know what is the way to go forward and what is in the interest of the country, but also what is within my limits, then I will decide the way forward. But if Zimbabweans don't care about their own futures, if Zimbabweans don't care about their own nation, if Zimbabweans are so uninformed to understand the interests that their nation is fighting up against capitalist companies, the interests that the country is fighting against Western capital. If you are not informed enough, if you are not passionate enough about your nation, if you are not passionate enough about the futures of your children, I don't have a reason to be interested in your futures or your children's futures. I will also get to a point where I don't have the resources to fight a company like Econet, the biggest company in the country. I don't have the resources to fight that. They've got your money, my money, that we pay them through our subscriptions to fight me and shut me up. So it's up to you as Zimbabweans. Do you really want a voice that holds big companies to account? Do you want a voice that has achieved what I have achieved in the past 6 months to get 100 million out, to get 10 million for cholera out, to get 10 million for the cyclone out? I believe it is pressure from companies, from people like me, that have caused Stride Masiwa to stay on top of ensuring that he gives to Zimbabwe. It is because of voices like mine that have made him go to court to clear his name about tax evasion. And I believe that voices like mine need to continue, because the future is bleak. The control of Zimbabwean seeds, the control of the Zimbabwean banking system, the control of the Zimbabwean economy, the control of Zimbabwean energy is coming to a head, and you will need people like me to speak up for Zimbabwe. Thank you.